Okay, the second theorem is show that gamma half equals to root pi, right? So the value of gamma half will be root pi if we prove this. So let us prove this. Already we have the relation between beta and gamma function as we have beta of m comma n equals to gamma m into gamma n by gamma m plus n. This is the relation that we have already established. Now we need to put, because I need gamma half, so everywhere here I will put half, here I will put half. So put m equals to n equals to half. Then what will happen? Beta of, in place of m I will get half, in place of n I will get half. So this is equal to gamma m. So gamma half, gamma n. So gamma half by gamma m plus n. So half plus half. So this is equal to, what will happen here? Gamma half into gamma half is gamma half whole square, and in the denominator gamma of half plus half, 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is 1. So gamma 1 value is 1 already. From the first property of gamma function, gamma 1 will be 1. So consider this as 1. So what I got is beta of gamma half whole square is nothing but beta of 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2. I need gamma half, right? I have to prove that gamma half value is root pi. I got right hand side, I got gamma half. So I will evaluate what will be the value of this beta of 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2. So now we are having the definition of beta function, beta of m comma n equals to integral 0 to 1 x power m minus 1 into 1 minus x whole power n minus 1 into dx, right? This is the basic definition of beta function. I will put m equals to n equals to 1 by 2. So what I will get here? Beta of 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2 equal to integral 0 to 1 x power 1 by 2 minus 1 into 1 minus x whole power 1 by 2 minus 1 into dx, right? So this is equal to integral 0 to 1. What I will get here? X power 1 by 2 minus 1 is nothing but x power minus 1 by 2, right? And 1 minus x into 1 by 2 minus 1 is nothing but 1 minus x whole power minus 1 by 2 into dx. This is beta of 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2, right? Now we will take some substitution here in this. So what substitution I am going to take? I will put x equals to sine square theta. Then what will happen? Dx equals to derivative of sine square is 2 sine theta, and derivative of sine theta is cos theta, and derivative of theta is d theta, right? So what will happen with limits? See, limits as what is the lower limit? As x goes to 0 is the lower limit, as x goes to 0, and as x goes to 1 is the upper limit. As x goes to 0, sine square theta will be 0, sine theta will be 0, and sine theta will be 0 at theta equals to 0. So theta goes to 0. Then next, as x goes to 1, this will become 1 here. Then sine square theta will be 1, so sine theta will be 1. Sine theta will be 1 when theta equals to pi by 2. So theta goes to pi by 2. Therefore, what will happen with this? With this, right? Beta of 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2 equals to integral 0 to 1 will be changed to 0 to pi by 2. 0 to pi by 2. See, x power minus 1 by 2. What is x here? Sine square theta. So sine square theta and power minus 1 by 2. So what we will get here? Sine square theta power minus 1 by 2, and here 1 minus x. So 1 minus sine square theta power minus 1 by 2, right? Dx is 2 sine theta cos theta and d theta, right? So this is equal to, what will happen? Let us see. Integral 0 to pi by 2 will be as it is. Integral 0 to pi by 2 will be as it is. This 2 and this 2 will get cancelled. I will get sine 1 by, because power minus 1 will remain, no? So I have to write this as 1 by sine theta, and here 1 by minus 1 by 2 can be written as square root of 1 minus sine square theta. 1 minus sine square theta can be written as cos square theta, right? So this 2 can be written outside, right? 2 I am taking outside, this 2 I am taking outside. So what will remain here? Sine theta into cos theta into d theta. Now this sine theta will get cancelled. Square root of cos square theta is nothing but cos theta, and this cos theta will get cancelled. So what will remain here? Integral 0 to pi by 2, 1 d theta will remain. Integration of 1 with respect to theta is theta, and the limits are from 0 to pi by 2. Now substitute the upper limit, pi by 2 minus 0. So this 2 will get cancelled, the value is pi. This value pi we are getting for beta of 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2. Now consider this as equation 2. Now from 1 and 2, so what I am getting here? Beta of 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2. The value of beta of 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2, I got it to be pi. So I got it to be pi. This is equal to, right hand side what is there? Gamma half whole square is there. Gamma half whole square is there. So finally what we will get? Gamma half value is, you take that square to left hand side, I will get it to be root pi, right? So gamma half equals to root pi. That we have proved. Okay, the next question is, using beta and gamma functions, evaluate the integral minus 1 to 1 minus x square whole power n dx, where n is positive integer. Using beta and gamma functions, we have to evaluate this integral, right? So I will consider the given integral as, let I equals to, I am denoting the integral by I, integral minus 1 to 1 minus x square dx, right? This is just the notation. So whenever in this problem I write I, means you have to understand that integral minus 1 to 1 minus x square dx, or the given integral 1 minus x square, here whole power n is there, right? Now this can be written as integral minus 1 to 1. So given integral can be written as, it is in the form of a square minus b square. 1 minus x square is in the form of a square minus b square. Now this can be written as 1 minus 1 plus x into 1 minus x, right, whole power n dx, right? I can write like this, a minus b, a square minus b square is nothing but a plus b into a minus b. That I have done here. Now instead of writing power to the complete whole term, I can divide these powers as, here power n and here also power n. Then I can remove this, right? So I can write the given integral as, just I am separating these terms, right? The given integral will become like this. Then you see, I know the basic definition of beta function. Beta of m comma n equals to integral 0 to 1 x power m minus 1 and 1 minus x whole power n minus 1 dx, right? If you compare the given terms with this, here 1 minus x is there, here also 1 minus x is there, fine. Here x is there, here I am having 1 plus x. So I need to change this 1 plus x. I need to change this 1 plus x to some other term. So I will take a substitution here, put 1 plus x equals to some other substitution. That substitution may be 2t, right? Why I am taking this 2? Directly, actually I am supposed to take only one variable like y or t or z like that. But why I am taking these 2, you will understand later. I am taking 2t. Then what will happen? Now you just differentiate this. What will happen? Dx equals to, derivative of 1 is 0, derivative of x is dx, equals to 2 into derivative of t is dt, right? Then what will happen with limits? Or else I have computed this term, 1 plus x is 2t. Now I need 1 minus x also. Now from this substitution, what will happen with 1 minus x? Let us compute that, which is equal to 1 minus, what is x? X is, from this relation, x is 2t minus 1. You take this 1 to this side. So 2t minus 1. 2t minus 1, which is equal to 1 minus 2t minus and this minus will become plus 1. So this is equal to 2 minus 2t. which is equal to 2 into, what will remain here, 2 into 1 minus t will remain, 1 minus t, right. So 1 minus x can be replaced with 2 into 1 minus t, and 1 plus x should be replaced with 2t. Then what will happen with limits? We need to bother about limits also here. So lower limit is minus 1, upper limit is 1. As x goes to minus 1 and as x goes to 1. For the lower limit, as x goes to minus 1, what will happen with t? Right? As x goes to minus 1, this will become minus 1. This x will become minus 1. 1 minus 1 will become 0. Then t will become 0. So as x goes to minus 1, t goes to 0. Now upper limit, as x goes to 1. Here 1. So 1 plus 1 will be 2. So t equals to 2 by 2, which is 1. So as x goes to 1, t will also go to 1. Therefore, finally what will happen? The given integral I will become integral, see, minus 1 to 1 will become 0 to 1, right, 0 to 1. Then 1 plus x can be replaced with 2t. So 2t whole power n, then 1 minus x. So 1 minus x will become 2 into 1 minus t. So 2 into 1 minus t whole power n into dx. What is dx? Dx can be replaced with 2 into dt. So now we have to simplify this integral, then we will get the required value, right. This is equal to, see, 2 power n is here. In this term 2 power n is there. In this term also 2 power n is there. So 2 power 2n, we will get 2 power n plus n, 2 power 2n plus 2 power 1 will be there. So finally we will get 2 power 2n plus 1. Then remaining integral 0 to 1 t power n 1 minus t power n dt. Now this can be written as integral 0 to 1. Actually we need this form. We need integral 0 to 1 x power m minus 1 and 1 minus x whole power n minus 1. So this can be written as t power n plus 1 minus 1, right. This plus 1 and minus 1 will get cancelled. Finally we will get n only, and 1 minus t whole power n plus 1 minus 1 into dt, right. So finally what we will get, 2 power 2n plus 1, 2 power 2n plus 1 integral 0 to 1. We don't need to write integral now. Directly we can use the definition of beta function. According to this, it will be, if m is here, then we will get m here also. If n is here, we will get n here. Then but here we are having n plus 1 here and n plus 1 here. So this will be beta of n plus 1 comma n plus 1. So finally 2 power 2n plus 1. Now use the relation between beta and gamma, right. If we use the relation between beta and gamma, so gamma n plus 1, we will get gamma n plus 1 again into gamma n plus 1 divided with gamma n plus 1 plus n plus 1. This I am using, here I am using the relation between beta and gamma function, which is equal to 2 power 2n plus 1. Now what is gamma n plus 1? Where n is an integer, so gamma n plus 1 is n factorial. Here we will get 1 n factorial, here also we will get one more n factorial. So n factorial whole square. This is divided with, here what we will get, 2n plus 2, 2n plus 2, gamma 2n plus 2. So finally 2n plus 1 n factorial whole square divided with this gamma 2n plus 2 can be written as 2n plus 1 factorial, right. Actually gamma n can be written as, see, gamma n can be written as n minus 1 factorial. 1 has to be reduced, right. This is the basic formula, and 1 has to be reduced. That is what I am doing here. Here I am reducing 1, then I will get n factorial. Here I am reducing 1, then I will get 2n plus 2 minus 1. So 2n plus 1 factorial. So this will be the final and required answer, which is 2 power 2n plus 1 n factorial whole square by 2n plus 1 factorial. Question is, So apply convolution theorem to evaluate Laplace inverse of s by s square plus a square whole square. Right? Solution. See, now I am having two functions. First function I am considering as 1 by s square plus a square. Another function I am considering as s by s square plus a square. Now you multiply these two, multiply this one and this one. So what we will get? S by s square plus a square whole square we will get. So we will get this. Now what is the inverse Laplace transform of this? Inverse Laplace transform according to formula, the inverse Laplace transform of 1 by s square plus a square is 1 by a sin 80, and inverse Laplace transform of s by s square plus a square is cos 80. Right? So I am considering this as Laplace inverse of f bar of s. See, both the functions have equal level of toughness. Both are first function is 1 by a sin 80, second function is cos 80. It doesn't matter, we can select this as g bar of s or this as f bar of s, it doesn't matter. I am selecting f bar of s as, because both are equally simple or equally tough. So that is why it doesn't matter to select f bar of s as 1 by s square plus a square or f bar of s as s by s square plus a square. We can select anyone. Here just 1 by a is extra, which is constant. It is not going to affect the integration. So 1 by a is extra, because this is little bit tougher than this because of this 1 by a. So that is why I am selecting this as f bar of s and this as Laplace inverse of g bar of s. Right? This will be g of t and this will be f of t. Right? So I got f of t as 1 by a sin 80, g of t as cos 80. Now let us apply convolution theorem. Now Laplace inverse of what we want? We want Laplace inverse of s by s square plus a square whole square. We want the inverse Laplace transform of this, which is equal to Laplace inverse transform of, see, s by s square plus a square is the multiplication of this one and this one, that is multiplication of this one and this one. So it is it is f bar of s into g bar of s, which is according to the convolution theorem, this is integral 0 to t f of u g of t minus u du. So this is equal to integral 0 to t f of u. What is f of u? F of u is 1 by a. Wherever t is there, we have to keep u. We have to put u. So sin a u into g of t minus u. Wherever t is there, we have to replace that with t minus u. So cos of a into this t should be replaced with t minus u into du. Now we have to evaluate this integral. So this integral can be written as 1 by a integral 0 to t sin a u and cos, so better I will write this here, this is equal to this is equal to 1 by a integral 0 to t sin a u cos a into t minus u du. Right? Now we have to integrate this. For integrating this, see, multiplication, two functions are there, sin and cos, which are in product. We cannot find the integration of this. So we try to apply 2 sin a cos b formula, but for that I need to have 2 here. So I will multiply this with 2 and divide here with 2. It doesn't matter. Right? So now I am going to apply this formula, 2 sin a cos b. From intermediate, this is nothing but sin a plus b plus sin a minus b. Right? I am going to apply this formula here, which is equal to 1 by 2a integral 0 to t. So what I will get here? Sin a plus b. A is au, b is t minus a into t minus u. Right? So what I'll get? Sine of A is AU plus B is plus B is AT minus AU. So AT minus AU. First term is over, then plus second term sine of A minus B. So sine of A minus B. A is AU minus B is AT minus AU. So AT minus and minus will become plus AU, right, into DU. Now we have to integrate this. This is equal to 1 by 2a integral 0 to t. So this AU and this AU will get cancelled. So what will remain? Sine AT will remain plus sine of AU plus AU, AU plus AU, 2AU minus AT into DU. Now integrate this 1 by 2a integration of sine AT with respect to u integration. So sine AT will be constant, integration of 1 will be u. Sine AT is constant as it is, integration of 1 is u plus integration of sine. Integration of sine is minus cos. So minus cos of 2AU minus AT, because the integration is with respect to u. Integration of this with differentiation of this with respect to u will come in the denominator. So in differentiation of this complete thing with respect to u. So 2a into integration of u is 1 and integration of AT is 0. So I'll get 2a here, right? And the limits will be from u equals to 0 to t. This is what we will get, right? Now substitute the limits. So this is equal to 1 by 2a. Substitute the upper limit. In place of u, I have to put t. So t into sine AT, right, minus 1 by 2a cos of, in place of u, I have to put t. In place of u, I have to put t. So what will happen? 2AT minus AT I will get. Here 2AT minus AT, which is 80. Right? Now substitute the lower limit. Minus. When we substitute the lower limit, in place of u we have to substitute 0. So we will get first term will become 0. Right? This term will become 0. Then minus of this minus will become plus. Now 1 by 2a. In place of u put 0. So what we will get? Cos of 0 minus 80, which is cos of minus 80. Right? So this is equal to 1 by 2a t sine 80 minus 1 by 2a cos 80 plus 1 by 2a. See, cos minus theta is cos theta only. So cos 80. Now what will happen? This 1 by 2a cos 80, 1 by 2a cos 80 will get cancelled. So finally we will get 1 by 2a into t sine 80. This is the required answer. This is the required answer for Laplace inverse transform of s by s square plus a square whole square. Okay, the second question is solve y double dash plus y equals to 2 into e power t, and also given y of 0. The value of y at the point 0 is 0 and the value of y dash at the point 0 is 2 by using Laplace transform. See, whatever the knowledge that we have obtained in this unit related to Laplace transform and inverse Laplace transform, all those formulae, all that knowledge will be utilized here to solve ordinary differential equations. So we'll start the procedure. What we have to do for the given differential equation? First we will write the given differential equation. Given y double dash plus y equals to 2 e power t. Consider this as differential equation 1. Now apply Laplace transform on both sides. When we apply Laplace transform on both sides, what will happen? Laplace transform of y double dash plus Laplace transform of y equals to 2 into Laplace transform of e power t, right? So Laplace transform of y double dash, we know just now we have noted down, it is s square into Laplace transform of y minus s into y of 0 minus y double dash of, sorry, y dash of 0, right? This is the expansion of Laplace transform of y double dash. Now plus Laplace transform of y as it is, then this is equal to 2 into what is Laplace transform of e power at? It is 1 by s minus a. A is 1, so we will get 1 by s minus 1, right? Now simplify this. This is equal to, here s square can be taken, sorry, Laplace transform of y can be taken common from this term and this term. So what we will get? S square plus 1 into Laplace transform of y minus, what is y of 0? Y of 0 value is given to be 0. This term will become 0. Now y dash of 2, y dash of 0, y dash of 0 is given to be 2. So minus 2 equal to, see this term is already considered here, now equal to 2 by s minus 1, right? Now simplify this. So we need only y, no? So slowly we will send all the terms to right hand side. So s square plus 1 into Laplace transform of y equals to 2 by s minus 1 minus, I am sending this minus 2 to right hand side, it will become plus 2. Now take the LCM here. When we take the LCM, we will get s minus 1 in the denominator, 2 as it is, then plus 2s minus 2, right? We will get 2s minus 2 in the numerator. So 2 will get cancelled, 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So what will remain here? 2. So we will write this in the next step. This is equal to, now I will write Laplace transform of y. I will send that s square plus 1 to right hand side. So what we will get? 2s by s minus 1 into s square plus 1. Now we need y only. So y of t equals to 2 into what will remain? Laplace inverse of that Laplace transform. When we bring this to right hand side, it will become Laplace inverse of s by s minus 1 into s square plus 1, right? We need to evaluate this Laplace inverse transform. We have to find what will be the value of this Laplace inverse transform of s by s minus 1 into s square plus 1. Then we will get the required solution of given differential equation, right? Consider this as 2. Right? Now we have to solve this Laplace inverse transform. We have to find the value of this. Once we get the value of this, we will get y of t, right? So for finding the value of this Laplace inverse transform, I am going to use convolution theorem. For applying convolution theorem, here how many functions are there? First function I will consider as 1 by s minus 1. Another function I will consider as s by s square plus 1. So write those two functions. First one is 1 by s minus 1. Another one is s by s square plus 1. So now Laplace inverse of this 1 by s minus 1 is given by e power t, and Laplace inverse of this s by s square plus 1 is given by cos at. A is 1 now, so cos t. Now consider this as simplest function should be selected as g of t. Simplest function is e power t only in comparison of cos t and e power t. Why we are choosing e power t, you will understand now, as g of t, right? Why we are choosing e power t as g of t, you will understand now. So now from the convolution theorem, Laplace inverse of s by s minus 1 into s square plus 1 is nothing but, see, this will be g bar of s and this will be f bar of s. So this is nothing but Laplace inverse of f bar of s into g bar of s, right? This is equal to integral 0 to t f of u g of t minus u du, which is equal to integral 0 to t, what is f of u? See, f of t is cos t, so f of u will be cos u. Now g of t minus u, e power t, t should be replaced with t minus u, so e power t minus u into du, right? This is equal to integral 0 to t, here this e power t can be taken out. See, e power t minus u can be written as e power t into e power minus u. So, e power t can be taken out, e power t into what will remain here, integral 0 to t e power minus u and cos u into du. This will remain here, right? Laplace inverse of s by s minus 1 into s square plus 1 finally became, by using this I am writing from convolution theorem. From convolution theorem I am able to write like this, right? I am able to write this Laplace inverse as in this integration. Now we have to evaluate this integral 0 to t e power minus u cos u integration. We are having a formula e power ax, integral e power ax cos bx. This is the formula. So what is the formula? I will write in some other color, blue color I will use. It is integral e power ax cos bx formula, cos bx dx equal to, what is the formula? E power ax by a square plus b square, a cos bx minus b sin, plus a cos bx plus b sin bx. This is the formula. Now apply this same formula for this integral. For this integral, apply the same formula. So this will be equal to, this is equal to e power t as it is, right? Now this, in place of a I am having minus 1 and in place of b I am having 1. So e power ax by, e power ax means e power minus u by a square plus b square. So minus 1 whole square plus 1 square into a cos bx. A is minus 1, cos b is 1. So a cos u plus b is 1 again, sin bx, sin u. Right, now limits are from 0 to t. So these are for u, wherever u is there we have to substitute this. So this is equal to e power t into, what will happen here, 1 plus 1 will get 2. So that 2 can be written outside. So this 2 can be written outside. Now what will remain? E power minus t. When you substitute the upper limit, it is e power minus t into minus cos t plus sin t. Then minus e power 0. When you substitute 0 here, e power 0 will become 1. This will become 1. Then minus cos 0. Minus and this minus will become plus cos 0. Cos 0 is 1. Then sin 0 is 0. Right. So finally, when we multiply, or else we can keep like this only. So what will happen here? E power t by 2 or e power t can be taken out. When we take e power t inside, so what will happen? 1 by 2 into, see, when I take this e power t inside, what will happen here? I will get e power t. E power t I will get here, right? Then here e power t into e power minus t means e power t minus t will get cancelled. E power 0 is 1. So what will remain here? Sin t minus cos t will remain. So 1 plus sin t minus cos t, right? This is the required Laplace inverse transform of s by s minus 1 into s square plus 1. So finally, what will be the answer? Therefore, final solution, that is y of t is equal to, we have to substitute this value in place of Laplace inverse. So 2 into 1 by 2 e power t plus sin t minus cos t, plus sin t minus cos t. 2 will get cancelled. So what will remain? E power t plus sin t minus cos t. This is the required solution of given differential equation. Solve x square d square y by dx square minus 2x into dy by dx minus 4y equals to x power 4. You can see that this is not a constant, it's a higher order differential. How to identify that I am telling you. It's a second order equation, right? it's not a constant coefficient, it's a linear equation only, right? It's a second order equation and linear also, because what are the conditions for linear? Dependent variable, that is y, and all its derivatives should be of degree 1. You see that power is 1 here, here also power is 1, here also power is 1. So first condition is satisfied, and they should not be multiplied together. That they means dependent variable and all its derivatives, they should not be multiplied together. They are not multiplied together in this equation, so it's a linear equation, but it's not a constant coefficient. Here is constant coefficient, but here variable is there, here also variable is there, so it's not a constant coefficient equation. So, and these variables are following a specific pattern, that is the power of x is 2 here, the coefficient of second order derivative is having power 2, coefficient of first order derivative is having power 1, right? So if this pattern is followed, then this form is called as Euler-Cauchy's equation. If you consider this as equation 1, then you can say that equation 1 is Euler-Cauchy's equation. Right? If given equation is an Euler-Cauchy's equation, we try to reduce that to constant coefficients. For reducing this to constant coefficients, we need to take a substitution. That substitution is put x equal to e power z. This implies what will happen? Z equals to log x. When we apply log on both sides of x equals to e power z, then we will get z equals to log x. When we are taking this substitution, just now we have seen all the calculations. These calculations we don't need to do in each and every problem. Whatever the computations I have done here, we don't need to do. Directly we can take that. Because of this substitution, x into dy by dx can be written as capital D into y. So when we take this substitution, so that what will happen? X into dy by dx will become capital D into y, and x square d square y by dx square, this will become d into d minus 1 into y, where what is this d? D is d by dz, right? Right, this is when we take this substitution, we can replace x into dy by dx by capital dy, x square d square y by dx square by capital D into capital D minus 1 into y, where capital D is given by d by dz, derivative with respect to z. So what will happen here? You see that x into dy by dx can be replaced with this, and x square d square dy by dx square can be replaced with this. Now from equation 1, let us see what will happen. X square d square y by dx square, I can write here d into d minus 1 into y minus 2 as it is. X into dy by dx can be written as capital D into y minus 4 y equal to x power 4. See, what is x now? X is e power z. We need x power 4. Then what will happen? X power 4 will be e power z power 4, which is nothing but e power 4 z. Right? So what has happened now? You see that dependent variable is y only, but independent variable became, instead of x, independent variable became z. So simplify this equation, what will happen? D square minus d, right, minus 2d minus 4. Y I am taking outside, y I am writing outside, right? Then what will happen here? D square minus d minus 2d minus 4. Now simplify this, d square minus 3d minus 4 into y equal to e power z. Now you can see that when we are taking this substitution, because of these derivatives, the given constant coefficient equation, which is Euler-Cauchy's equation, became a constant variable coefficient equation. This equation 1 is variable coefficient equation. Now this became a constant coefficient equation because of these substitutions. So this is how Euler-Cauchy's equation, which is a variable coefficient equation, can be solved by reducing the given equation to constant coefficient equation. You see that what are the coefficients now here? Minus 3 is a constant, minus 4 is a constant, 1 is a constant. So this equation is now reduced to a constant coefficient equation. Now we know how to solve this. You consider this as equation 2. How to solve this equation? Already we know this. We have to find complementary function, particular integral. For finding complementary function, write the auxiliary equation. So auxiliary equation is m square minus 3m minus 4 equal to 0. Now solve this. factorize. For factorizing, m square minus 4m plus m minus 4 equal to 0. Now you take m common here, m minus 4 will remain, plus 1 common here, m minus 4 will remain. This is equal to 0. Now you take m minus 4 common. When we take m minus 4 common, then m plus 1 equal to 0. Therefore, what will be the roots? Therefore, roots will be m equal to 4 comma minus 1, right? 4 and minus 1 will be the roots of auxiliary equation. Now you see that these roots are real and distinct. When the roots are real and distinct, the complementary function will be given by yc equals to c1 e power 4. Previously we wrote x because the independent variable was x here. So we wrote e power 4x, but here the independent variable is z. So e power 4z, right? This complementary function is not for equation 1. This complementary function is for equation 2. c1 e power 4z plus c2 e power minus 1z, right? This is the complementary function for equation 2. Now to get the complementary function for equation 1, this z should be replaced with, see, we have to make use of this substitution. Whatever the substitution we have taken and got this complementary function, we have to invert the substitution. We have to substitute back the things. See, e power 4z, here e power z is there. If we want to write e power 4z, we need to write x power 4 here. So this is equal to c1 x power 4, c1 x power 4 plus c2 e power minus z is there. E power minus z is there. So what we will get here? E power z whole power minus 1. Here we will get x power minus 1. X power minus 1 is nothing but 1 by x, right? c1 x power 4 plus c2 into 1 by x is the complementary function of given equation, right? Now we have to find particular integral. Now particular integral is, which is yp, which is given by 1 by f of d. F of d is this one, d square minus 3d minus 4, d square minus 3d minus 4, right, into e power 4z, e power 4z, right? Now what we have to do, because e power az, it is in the form of e power ax, that is first case. D should be replaced with a. If we do like this, what will happen? 1 by 4 square, here 4 square, 4 square means 16 minus d should be replaced with a. So 4 3s are 12 minus 4. Then what is happening here? 16 minus 12 minus, we will get 1 by 0, which is a failure case, right? Failure case is raising when we directly taking in place of d, when we are directly taking a. Failure case is raising. So what we have to do? We have to differentiate the denominator. First multiply the numerator with x, but here z is there, independent variable. So multiply the numerator with z and replace capital D with a. We have to multiply the numerator with z and differentiate the denominator. When we differentiate the denominator, we will get 2d minus 3 into e power 4z, right? Why we are doing this? First step is, when e power ax is there, d should be replaced with a. D should be replaced with a. When we are replacing d with a, we are getting 16 here, 12 here, minus 4 here. So it is becoming 0. 16 minus 12 minus 4 is becoming 0. That is why we are multiplying the numerator with z and differentiating the denominator. Then further, what will happen? Z by, again replace d with a. A is 4. So what we will get here? 4 to the 8 minus 3. 4 to the 8 minus 3 is 5. Z by 5 into e power 4z. Now what is z? What is z? Z is log x. So we are getting here log x by 5 into e power 4z. E power 4z is x power 4. This is yp, right? Therefore final solution is y equals to yc plus yp, complementary function plus particular integral. Complementary function is c1 x power 4 plus c2 1 by x, yp is plus log x by 5 into x power 4. This is the required solution of given Euler-Cauchy's equation.